Hi guys, James again, back with another video. And this one, I hadn't realized that I wanted to do this for a while, but it came up on me as an idea a week or two ago, where I realized I wanted to do a top 10 either crime drama or crime thrillers, and I ended up deciding to mash them both together because there was too many of either. And there were several from both lists that I wanted to be compared against each other on the same list. And there are a few UK crime drama / thrillers on here, and I swear I could have almost done a top 10 UK crime movies on its own. But because of the ones from here, North America, I thought all of them would fit together nicely. But the UK crime drama thriller genre is a great one on its own. So top 10 crime drama / thrillers. And we will start with number 10. Number 10 is a film from 2013. It's a UK film called Welcome to the Punch. And it stars James McAvoy, Mark Strong, Andrea Riseborough, David Morrissey, and it sort of starts out with James McAvoy, who is a police investigator, and he's going up against Mark Strong. So James McAvoy plays D.I. Max Lewinsky, and he's going up against Jacob Sternwood, who is Mark Strong. And it's sort of, I don't know, not like his white whale, but it's this ultimate criminal he wants to take down. And Sternwood ends up getting the better of him, but he doesn't kill him. He has every chance to kill him, but he doesn't. He sort of has an aversion to killing, and then disappears. Well, years later, I think he shoots him in the knee or something, and he's got a lingering injury even years later. And he wants to track him down, and he finds out that Sternwood's son is involved in a crime, and then ends up collapsing. I think it's on the tarmac of an airport runway. And so they take him in, and he ends up dying. But they don't let that information out because he hopes that it will draw Sternwood out of the woodwork, out of hiding. And he's going after his main target, but at the same time there's other cops that he works with that are running an illegal drug smuggling operation. So things get in his way as he's going after Sternwood. And the meaning of the title, I don't think that it has a great deal to do with the movie, but when they say Welcome to the Punch, as I've read, is a nickname for the one end of this container yard. I think it's a shipyard. And when you get James McAvoy and Mark Strong finally interacting, it is pretty great in the movie. They play a great foil for one another. Yeah. So this is it's a great crime thriller. Welcome to the Punch. Number nine, we have a film from 2018, directed by S. Craig Zahler, the same guy who did Bone Tomahawk and Brawl in Cell Block 99. This was his sort of cop and robber crime thriller called Dragged Across Concrete. And this one stars Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn primarily. You've also got Michael Jai White, Jennifer Carpenter, Laurie Holden, Udo Kier, Thomas Kretschmann, and Don Johnson in there. But it's essentially two cops, Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn, who one older, one younger, and they end up getting a little too rough with a perpetrator, strong arming him and injuring him, but it gets caught on camera. and that gets released to the public, and because of the reaction to that, they're suspended for 6 weeks. So they're in financial straits, each in their own way, and so they decide to try and supplement their income by tapping into the criminal underworld. And they get word of some bank robberies going down, and they want to get a piece of that. Now, on the other side, you've got the bank robbers who, the actors aren't familiar to me, but there is one, the character is Black Gloves, and another one is Gray Gloves. And while you barely, I don't think you really ever see those two main bad guys without they're always wearing ski masks, but they've got great voices, great evil bad guy voices that come through that you don't even need to see them, because their presence on the screen, led by like physical presence and their voice coming through, is just pretty awesome. So it's one of those ones that you don't know who to root for, the criminals or the cops, because both are equally bad. So you just want to see what's going to happen when these two negative forces collide. And I thought everyone did a great job, especially Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn, who as partners have a great, a pretty funny dynamic between the two of them. But yeah, all the main actors and the supporting actors all do a fantastic job in this. So and just as a heads up, the movie, not what you'd expect it be a 2.5 hour. It's about 2.5 hour movie, but it's not dull. It's worth the runtime. Now, I was going to say this at the beginning, but I forgot that a good example of a crime drama, crime thriller, probably the best example out there would be Heat. Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and that'd be at the top of most people's lists. But everyone knows about it. It would be on everyone's list. But because what I'm focusing on are the lesser known ones, that one can't be on this list. Otherwise, it would be at the top. It'd be number one. Heat, big surprise. Okay, continuing on, we have number 8. We have another UK crime drama called 44-Inch Chest. Now, I don't know exactly where they got the title for this one, but it stars Ray Winston, Ian McShane, John Hurt, Tom Wilkinson, Stephen Delane, Joanne Whalley. So a really good who's who of UK actors. And it's fantastic. And it's essentially Ray Winston plays Colin Diamond, and he's a successful car salesman, and he discovers that his wife's been cheating on him. So he ends up getting a hold of the guy who she's been cheating with, sequestering him in a house, and brings all his friends for support, and he's going to get down to the bottom of this and basically torture the hell out of this guy. And it pretty much takes place, the entire movie pretty much takes place in this one room of this house, with them all interrogating the guy and having their way with them. But there are elements to the movie that I'm not going to go into. I don't feel like putting a spoiler alert up this, because this one's, it's worth the reveal, but it's also tough to explain because you're not entirely sure. It's ambiguous about, if I were to tell you what the reveal, what the twist was, and it could go either way. So I'm gonna just leave that up to you guys to check it out. So that's 44-Inch Chest. Number 7, we have a movie from 1997 called Incognito. And I believe I'd seen the preview for this one. I had this one on, I still have this one on VHS, I believe. And another one that I've only ever seen on VHS. And it's directed by John Badham. It stars Jason Patric, Irene Jacob, and I believe it's Rod Steiger. Yeah, Rod Steiger. Ian Holm is also in there. and it's pretty much Jason Patric plays Harry Donovan. He's a talented art forger, but he stays under the radar because he forges lesser known artists, and he's one day offered a job to forge a Rembrandt, very famous artist, and he takes the job, but he gets involved with Irene Jacob, who plays Marieke Vanderbroek, and I believe she is she's somehow involved in the art world, so he gets involved with her without letting her know what he really does. But he also has a disapproving father, Rod Steiger, who doesn't want him to do this. He wants him to become an artist in his own right, like stop this forging criminal business. And the turmoil he goes through, the back and forth on whether or not he should take this job, complete the job, or not, and his relationship with Irene Jacob it's definitely what I'd call a hidden gem, because I don't think a lot of people know about this movie. Incognito. Number 6, we have another UK crime thriller called The Disappearance of Alice Creed. And this one pretty much just stars 3 actors. It's Gemma Arterton, Eddie Marsan, and Martin Compston. And it's essentially Gemma Arterton plays Alice Creed, the titular Alice Creed, and she gets kidnapped by the two guys. Eddie Marsan and Martin Compston, they play Danny and Vic, and she's kidnapped and held for ransom. And they're also they're 2 kidnappers, but they also have their own special relationship. They're involved with each other, and so the dynamic between those 2 and Alice, and when one of them's not in the room, her trying to play them off each other is great. The dialogue is the star. Well, the dialogue spoken by these actors is the star, because it's all pretty much primarily in one room, the room that she's being held in. And like when one comes in, they interact, and both of them are interacting with each other and with her. And just how is she going to get out of this, or is she going to get out of this, and what's going to happen to her, and what's going to happen to the 2 guys. And it's a great three actor play kind of thing, except it's a movie. So The Disappearance of Alice Creed, excellent movie. Number 5, we have a film from 1985. It's an Australian made-for-TV movie, a thriller called Fortress. Not the futuristic prison movie starring Christopher Lambert. This one's Australian one, and essentially it's this teacher played by Rachel Ward. It's the only recognizable actor that I know of in the movie. Rachel Ward, she's a teacher, and she's teaching a class, and her and the class get taken hostage by these guys. All these guys in these weird masks. Like one has a Santa mask, one has like a Daffy Duck mask, and pretty creepy. I saw this a few times as a kid, and I was able to find the DVD, so I haven't watched this movie in more than 30 years. And I've been meaning to go back to it. I still have it right at hand. But they get kidnapped and held for ransom in this cave by this group of criminals in masks, and they end up escaping. So a lot of the movie is the teacher and the kids on the run being followed by these criminals in masks. And the main guy has a very creepy, sinister voice to him. And so it's pretty much, mostly is them on the run from these kidnappers, and just a very tense, heart-pounding movie. So that is Fortress. Just found it one day. I'm like, oh my god, it's this movie from when I was a kid. It's great. Number 4, we have a movie from 1993, crime drama called Flesh and Bone. This one stars Meg Ryan, Dennis Quaid, James Caan, and Gwyneth Paltrow. And I believe this was Gwyneth Paltrow's feature film debut, at least in a main acting role. I think because she showed up in like one shot in a scene in Hook. She played Wendy in the montage of like Wendy growing up, but this was, I think, her first full acting role. And it starts with a kid who looks like he's been abandoned, being taken in by a family on this farm, and they feed him, clothe him, and then he lets in James Caan, who's actually his father, and he's planning on robbing the place, and one guy pulls a gun, he ends up killing the whole family. But Dennis Quaid, as a little kid, sees that there's this baby girl in this crib, and he hides her so that his dad doesn't find her and kill her. And jump to several decades later, Dennis Quaid he sort of does collections for all of these, like, goes around collecting money from all these like jukeboxes and slot machines. He does this circuit all around these towns, servicing and collecting money from these machines. And he ends up being nearby when a bachelor party's going on, and the stripper that comes out of the cake is Meg Ryan, but she's had too much to drink, so she passes out, and he ends up taking her back to his hotel room just to let her recover. And they end up developing a relationship, and then Gwyneth Paltrow tracks him down, saying that we need your help. And it turns out she's got James Caan, Dennis Quaid's dad, in his car, and he's been shot. Excuse me. So they need his help, and they do end up stitching him up. And his dad is still not a good guy, and he's involved with Gwyneth Paltrow, who is a bit of a thief. She ends up posing as a mourner at various funerals, and then robs people and the corpses and stuff like that are in the caskets. And I think that's where I want to stop, because there are some okay. Spoiler alert. And again, I throw those up so that you can pause and move on to the next one if you want. Spoiler alert, Meg Ryan, as it turns out, is the grown-up version of the baby that Dennis Quaid, as a kid, protected. And he ends up coming to that realization, but so does his father. And his father's like, you brought her to me. We have to tie up these loose ends. So it's that struggle of can he stop his dad? Will he do whatever it takes to stop his dad to protect her? Okay, that's where we'll cut it off. It's a fantastic movie because of the performances from all the 4 main actors, and it's very worth your time. Flesh and Bone. Number 3, we have a film from 2013, sort of a black comedy crime film called Filth. And this is based on a Irving Welsh novel, guy who wrote Trainspotting. And it stars James McAvoy, Jamie Bell, and Jim Broadbent mainly. And James McAvoy plays Bruce Robertson, and he's a very I don't want to say off the wall, he's a very corrupt, highly unstable police officer, and he always messes with rookies and informants and like abuses them, treats them bad, and like he seems to be untouchable, but he's got very serious issues going on with him. But he's also got a wife and kid who left him because he's so unstable, and he wants to be with them, but he's not the kind of person that could be around them. And I think this one is best left for you guys viewing it, because it's all on the performances. James McAvoy is playing a very, very, very bad character, but he does such an amazing job in this movie. Oh my goodness. It might be my favorite performance that James McAvoy has ever done, with the one exception of his character of the Horde in Split and Glass, because that's just amazing. He deserved an award. He deserved an Oscar for the effort he put into either of those movies. But I guess I would put it on par with those. I'd put his acting in Filth on par with his acting in Split/Glass. It's just very two different kinds of performance, very completely different kinds of performances, but done equally well. So that is Filth. Number two, we have a really fun one from 2008 called Assassination of a High School President. And it's pretty much the SATs get stolen, and one of the kids who works for this high school paper takes it on himself to investigate. And the cast in this is pretty awesome. It stars Reese Thompson, who he played, if you saw The Perks of Being a Wallflower, Hermione Granger from the Harry Potter movies, Emma, whatever her last name is. Her older college boyfriend in the movie. That's who is the star of this one, Reese Thompson, and he plays Robert Bobby Funke, and he's the one who works for the paper. But you've also got Misha Barton in there, Bruce Willis, Robin Lord Taylor, Michael Rappaport, Luke Grimes from Yellowstone, Zach Rohrig from Vampire Diaries, Michael Zegan, Zoe Kravitz. A lot of people in this movie. And I think what's his name? He played the younger version of Jason Patrick, Shakes in Sleepers. And, where's his name? I can't remember his real name. I think it's Vincent Piazza. Plays Ricky Dela Cruz. Anyway, I think the standout performance, Reese Thompson does a great job, but I think the standout performance in this one is Bruce Willis as the principal. Plays Principal Jared T. Kirkpatrick. And essentially it's Reese Thompson getting involved with Misha Barton and trying to investigate who stole the SATs, and they get blamed on the star football player, and did he do it or did he not do it? And he's getting himself into trouble. But Bruce Willis as the principal is just oh man, he's so funny. But he's playing it completely straight and stuff like that. This movie's just a whole lot of fun. Assassination of a High School President. But if it worries you, there's no actual assassination of a high school president. It'd be more like character assassination. Okay, so we come to number one. Number one, this one was actually recommended to me by my older brother Rob, and I hadn't seen this one. He saw it before I did, and it's from 2012, and it's called The Sweeney, and it's based on the TV show The Sweeney, and The Sweeney comes from the title Sweeney Todd, and it's Cockney rhyming slang for Sweeney Todd is actually the Flying Squad. And the Flying Squad is a branch of the Metropolitan Police. This is a UK film. Branch of the Metropolitan Police that investigates armed robberies and other serious armed crimes. So you got this division of the police, and not like they run unchecked, because throughout the movie they're being investigated by internal affairs, but they have very unorthodox methods. that they employ to carry out their duties. And it stars Ray Winston, Haley Atwell, Damian Lewis, Stephen McIntosh, Ben Drew, Paul Anderson. I had forgotten Ed Screen's in there, but I just watched it again yesterday, and I didn't pick him out. And Bricktop from Snatch. Alan Ford plays Harry. And what it basically is they get a tip from, Ray Winston gets a tip from his informant, Harry, that a bank is going to be targeted and robbed. So they decide to check it out. And while they're doing that, this jewelry store gets hit. And they get robbed, and one of the women who was in the store at the time gets shot just as an afterthought. All the criminals are leaving the store, and one turns back and shoots her. And they find evidence that Ray Winston's character just thinks that Francis Allen, that this legendary criminal that he's put away several times, thinks is involved. So they bring him in. And it turns out that he's not. It's this other Serbian paramilitary guy called... Oh, where is he? Oh, they're not listing his name. Macon... sorry. Macon Treebold. And so they start going after him, investigating him, because Francis Allen has this rock solid alibi, but Ray Winston's character is not convinced. And they're trying to take this guy down, but they're also being investigated by internal affairs. And it's just so intense. This movie is so intense. But you've got Ray Winston, who's having an affair with Haley Atwell, and she is actually married to the internal affairs guy who's investigating them. And no one but his best friend knows this. And so you've got that conflict going. And yeah, I'm going to stop there, because one recommendation I will make to this is to turn the subtitles on, because a lot of the slang they use and the dialogue is so quick that you just listen, like I'm not sure I caught exactly what they're saying, just because they're talking so quick, but they're also using a lot of British slang that you may not be familiar with, and I certainly wasn't. I'm just like, I'm not sure I know what they're saying. I mean, half of it you'll catch, but half of it is just words you're not familiar with. So for that reason alone, I would turn the subtitles on. But yeah, so that was number one, The Sweeney. Fantastic movie. That's why it's at number one, for sure. Okay, so that was it for this list. And I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Toodles.